You still think Bitcoin is a scam in 2025? Come on. Maybe you could be forgiven for thinking Bitcoin was a scam in 2009 or 2010 when it had no price. The only people that were into it were cypherpunks. But come on, it's 2025. So do you realize if Bitcoin is a scam, the total number of people who have to be wrong if Bitcoin is a scam at this point is absolutely astounding. So what I wanted to do is go through a short list of some of the people and organizations that would have to be wrong in order for Bitcoin to be a scam. And the reason I'm doing this is when I post stuff on Facebook, I get some comments from people who clearly don't get it. These people are getting left behind. They are classic, have fun staying poor. I don't ever tell someone that, but like they don't get it. And I'm like, it's 2025. Come on. We're not 10 years ago. We're not 2014. We're not 2010. Come on. It is 2025. Okay. So with the help of ChatGPT, I printed a massive list. I asked ChatGPT, if Bitcoin is a scam, who is wrong? Who's going to have egg on their face? Who is all in on Bitcoin? And it turns out they're going to look like a fool if Bitcoin's a scam. So, high level, Bitcoin ETFs, Bitcoin exchange traded funds, the most successful product on Wall Street would have to be a scam. Bitcoin funds, which have the ETFs have tens of billions of dollars in them. Bitcoin funds, which each have hundreds of millions. Bitcoin custody providers, derivatives, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, which has derivatives on Bitcoin. They must have gotten scammed. Seriously, you think all these people got scammed? It's absolutely incredible. Okay, major corporations, the largest asset manager in the world, BlackRock. You literally think they got scammed by owning tons of Bitcoin, including tens of billions of dollars on behalf of their customers. You're telling me the largest asset manager in the world got scammed by Bitcoin because Bitcoin's a scam? Seriously. Because your random cousin Bubba told you Bitcoin's a scam, you're positive that BlackRock, the largest money manager in the world, is getting scammed by Bitcoin because Bitcoin's a scam? Seriously, that's just insane. Okay, Fidelity. So BlackRock's the largest money manager. Vanguard, I believe they're second largest. Fidelity, the third largest. You're telling me all three of the top finance companies in the United States, all three of them are getting scammed by Bitcoin and are scamming their customers by Bitcoin. Do you realize how ridiculous that sounds? Okay, now you've got ARK Invest, you've got a ton of other companies in here. Franklin Templeton, Investco, ProShares. Seriously, these are some of the most reputable exchange-traded fund managers and financial institutions in the world. Okay, let's go to banks. So these banks either own Bitcoin or they run funds or they are recommending actively Bitcoin to their customers. One second. Okay, so these are the financial institutions that have embraced Bitcoin. JP Morgan, largest, most important bank in the world. Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, Citigroup, Wells Fargo, BNY Mellon, State Street, US Bank. You're telling me all of those are totally embracing a scam and they didn't do any due diligence? Seriously. If you think Bitcoin's a scam in 2025, you have to believe all of these companies are getting scammed by it and that they didn't do any due diligence and they traded their hard-earned US dollars for Bitcoin and are encouraging their customers to do the same. You really think all of those organizations got scammed? Then there's massive banks outside of the United States. You've got banks, one second here. There we go. The one turn that Tesla doesn't always get right. Usually it does, but not always. All right, so outside the United States, major banks in Japan, the list is insanely long. There's massive banks in basically every jurisdiction that have embraced Bitcoin, put it on their balance sheet, advise their customers to buy it. Again, I'm going through the Netherlands, France, the UK, Singapore, Australia, Canada, Switzerland. There's a huge list here of banks and financial institutions that have embraced Bitcoin, both on their balance sheet and on behalf of their customers. And again, you think it's a scam? You think all of these things are scamming themselves and they haven't done any due diligence because, again, your random cousin Bubba told you that Bitcoin was a scam and you think BlackRock's wrong and Bubba's right. Come on, this is like insane in 2025. All right, then you have major financial apps, PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, all of those embracing Bitcoin, selling Bitcoin to their customers. You're like, They're all scamming their customers. You're serious. You think they're all scamming their customers. Okay. Then you have the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, CME Group, CBOE, Continental Exchange. You think all of those are scamming themselves and their customers. Okay, then the United States. The Security and Exchange Commission approved the Bitcoin ETFs. So seriously, you think they got scammed? The SEC got scammed by approving a scam for sale to customers when the SEC's job is to protect people from scams. So you think the SEC scammed? The Commodities Future Trading Commission. Okay, are they getting scammed? You really think that they are approving the derivatives exchange of Bitcoin, even though the whole thing's a scam? That's just ludicrous. You got all these the Federal Reserve has weighed in on Bitcoin, even though they're not a fan of it. They've weighed in on the technology and how it works. They're just not a fan because it takes power away from them. But the FDIC has rolled out Bitcoin oversight. FinCEN, the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, has rolled out AML KYC rules for Bitcoin. Again, would they be doing all of this if it was a scam? The IRS has classified Bitcoin as property for taxation. Seriously, the IRS studies Bitcoin, and you think they arrive at the fact that it's a property for classification, but somehow it's still a scam because your random cousin Bubba told you it was a scam. Like, what? In what universe is that right? Okay, the Treasury Department has rolled out monitoring and policy design for Bitcoin. The Department of Justice has laid out policies related to ownership and custody of Bitcoin. The Department of Commerce has weighed in on blockchain initiatives. The National Institute of Science and Health has weighed in on Bitcoin. The Government Accountability Office has weighed in. You think all of these people are getting scammed and don't know it? Like, how ridiculous and insane does that sound in 2025 that all of these people are getting scammed and they just don't know it because Bitcoin's somehow a scam and they haven't realized it? All these organizations. Okay. Then a bunch of organizations at state level. New York DFS, the financial services organization has rolled out the Bit license for things like Bitcoin. The Texas Department of Banking, the Wyoming state regulators, the California Department of Finance, Colorado, Florida, Arizona. All 50 states have directly or indirectly validated that Bitcoin is ownership of property or commodity, all of that. You think they're all getting scammed because it's a scam and they just don't realize it? Okay, across Europe, basically every regulator in Europe has weighed in on Bitcoin and classified it somehow, explained how you're supposed to pay taxes on it, all of that. Individual European nations, each of those have a finance organization that's weighed in and laid out guidelines for custody, digital assets, ownership, taxation, and that includes Germany, France, the UK, Switzerland, Ireland, Italy, Spain, Australia, Luxembourg, Portugal, Norway. This is just highlights. Then you get to Asia, Japan, South Korea, Hong Kong. So, all the way into Malaysia, Nigeria, Thailand, Indonesia, Australia, New Zealand. All these people are getting scammed. They're all weighing in on Bitcoin, and you're telling me they're all getting scammed because they haven't realized Bitcoin's a scam, even though they're all laying out regulatory policies for Bitcoin ownership, custody, transfer, taxation. They're laying out all of that, and you're telling me Bitcoin's a scam, and all of these people are getting scammed, and they just don't know it? How ridiculous and insane does that sound in 2025? Again, it keeps going. United Arab Emirates, some of which own actual Bitcoin, hundreds of millions of Bitcoin that they've bought. Central Bank of Nigeria, and South Africa, both weighed in on Bitcoin, including in multiple cases after initially central banks trying to ban it, coming back and saying, okay, we get it, you can own it. So come on, they're classifying it, Canada, it goes on and on and on. The list is insane. Then you have major companies, Tesla, some ones that you all would have heard of here. You got major companies like Tesla and SpaceX that have hundreds of millions of dollars of Bitcoin on their balance sheet. So you really think Elon Musk is scamming himself by buying Bitcoin with the assets of Tesla and SpaceX? Seriously, Elon Musk, the richest guy in the world, is scamming himself by buying Bitcoin? Do you realize how ridiculous that sounds? There's a huge list of companies that own Bitcoin in their balance sheet, but like the countries, I'm afraid I'm going to bore you if I start reading through them, so I'm going to switch ahead. There's entire ecosystems of brokerages built around Bitcoin. I'm not going to list them all, but Coinbase, Robinhood, CBOE, CME. Again, these are Chicago Mercantile Exchange. They've been around for centuries, and you're telling me that they're scamming everybody by rolling out Bitcoin derivatives products. I mean, that's just, again, absolutely ridiculous. Okay, then you've got, let me see if I can pull up some more here. 1 second here. Then you've got major companies that are tied into the ecosystem in various ways. Again, a very long list. I'm not going to read that. Again, some of the organizations, I listed these, but this is a more comprehensive list. So these are all the organizations who would have to be scamming themselves or getting scammed by Bitcoin if Bitcoin was a scam. BlackRock, Fidelity, Vanguard, ARK Invest, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, Citigroup, Bank of New York Mellon, State Street, PayPal, Robinhood, SoFi. Seriously, all of these are scamming themselves and getting scammed by Bitcoin. You realize how ridiculous that sounds. Okay, then you've got, a bunch of international financial institutions, Standard Chartered, BBVA, SBI Holdings, DBS Bank in Singapore. I mean, it's like the list goes on and on and on. Again, super long list of, regulatory agencies that have weighed in and classified Bitcoin as a commodity. Again, if it was a scam, they categorize it as a scam. If Bitcoin was a scam, they would not be saying it's a commodity, it's a currency, it's all these other things. I mean, the thought of that is just insane. All right. So countries, El Salvador has hundreds of millions of dollars of Bitcoin on their balance sheet. So you're telling me the entire country is scamming itself. By El Salvador buying Bitcoin, they are scamming themselves. Do you realize how ridiculous that sounds? The United States has many tens of billions of dollars of Bitcoin in a strategic Bitcoin reserve. So you're telling me the United States set up a strategic reserve for a scam. You realize how ridiculous that sounds, that the entire United States set up a strategic reserve of Bitcoin, and you think it's a scam because your random cousin Bubba told you it was a scam. I mean, that's crazy. So not only do you have major countries with strategic Bitcoin reserves, you have a bunch of countries that have Bitcoin in various capacities plugged into their financial system or on their balance sheet. You got major politicians, Senator Cynthia Lummis, Ted Cruz, big Bitcoin supporters, Representatives Patrick McHenry, Tom Emmer, Warren Davidson, all major supporters of Bitcoin. Again, you're telling me senators and congressmen, multiple in various political parties, are all scamming themselves because you think Bitcoin is a scam. And again, the list goes on and on and on. International politicians in Switzerland, Portugal, Dubai, Singapore, Hong Kong, Japan, all weighing in saying we need Bitcoin as a strategic reserve asset for our country and for our ecosystem. And again, you think it's a scam in 2025. It's just absolutely insane. All right. Oh, and a massive army of academics, think tanks, economists, and all that, all who have weighed in on Bitcoin and all of who have said this is an important asset for the future, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Major organizations that have covered Bitcoin positively, including Bloomberg, the Wall Street Journal, Reuters, The Economist, and Financial Times, even though now and then they throw in a negative story. They're not calling it a scam. You can find people that call it a scam. You can't find organizations virtually anymore. So if you think Bitcoin is a scam, there's exactly one person on the planet that definitely agrees with you, and that is Peter Schiff. Peter Schiff has been trying to sell his clients gold rather than Bitcoin for decades. He is unhappy that Bitcoin came along because it messes up his gold business, because Bitcoin directly competes for dollars that people could put in gold. Bitcoin is superior to gold in every conceivable way, but Peter Schiff, it's standing in the way of him selling gold to customers. So Peter Schiff has been adamantly against Bitcoin from the beginning. He would agree with you, it's a scam. But he's basically like the only guy left. So if you believe Bitcoin is a scam, you are in good company with your random cousin Bubba. And that's about it at this point. If you think Bitcoin's is a scam, basically everybody in the world thinks you're crazy at this point. The entire financial institution is adopting Bitcoin. Every major institution, including the holdouts, are now adopting Bitcoin. The state of Texas bought $10 million of Bitcoin for their own strategic reserve. I mean, all of these things are happening, and you think it's a scam. The problem with that thinking is tons of people are going to end up getting left behind. So if you think Bitcoin is a scam, you are getting left behind. And the problem is, by saying it's a scam, you're scaring other people off who are also getting left behind. The greatest threat from Bitcoin is the people that get left behind. That is the problem. If everyone were to adopt Bitcoin, which the smart people and seems like at this point all of Wall Street is doing, then the money of the future will be more evenly distributed. The more people that say stupid stuff and don't get it, the more they hold other people back from adopting Bitcoin, which increases the lack of Bitcoin adoption, will cause an increase in wealth inequality and income inequality, because the people who buy Bitcoin are going to end up with greater wealth than the people who don't. We can solve that by encouraging more people to buy Bitcoin and stop saying stupid stuff like Bitcoin's a scam, which again is just objectively, completely, and totally not true. So hopefully all this helps. If you believe Bitcoin is a scam in 2025, I don't understand how your thought process works. Because Wall Street disagrees with you, basically everybody disagrees with you except your random cousin Bubba. So if you think Bitcoin's a scam in 2025, please, your random cousin Bubba is the only person saying that anymore. Please get with the program or you're going to be left behind. And if you are left behind, then other people will benefit and you don't. And that's bad for whoever doesn't benefit. So please get with the program, do the research, study it. Go find out who still thinks Bitcoin's a scam and who doesn't. And it's about 100 to 1 at this point. And the few holdouts are just like these intellectual academics who called it a scam back in 2011, and their ego will not let them embrace it because they don't want to be wrong. Bitcoin is an ego test. If you are convinced you're right and that you thought Bitcoin was a scam once upon a time and you refuse to change your mind, then yes, you will be left behind, and that is a shame. But if you are open-minded and you look around you as the entire world adopts Bitcoin, then get with the program. If you once thought Bitcoin was a bad idea, it is not too late to change your mind. If you once thought Bitcoin was a scam, it is not too late to admit you are wrong to yourself. You don't have to admit you're wrong to anyone else, but at least admit you are wrong to yourself and embrace Bitcoin, because the rest of the world is embracing Bitcoin. It's up to you whether you join them. The world can't ban Bitcoin, but you can ban yourself from Bitcoin, but only you end up worse off. So please get with the program, do the research. The adoption is happening. It's all a matter of, is the adoption happening in a way that benefits you, or is adoption happening in a way that does not benefit you? And the choice on that front is yours.